Everybody, welcome to another Teach Time topic. Today we're going to be talking about replacement behaviors. So, what is a replacement behavior? That's pretty simple. A replacement behavior is we're teaching our students another appropriate way to receive what they want. So, for example, if a student demonstrates a problem behavior to receive attention. Multiple behaviors can fall into this category, but a common one we see at Panorama is speaking out of turn or inappropriately. So there we go. We've identified the problem behavior, and then it leads to that student usually being removed from the classroom or receiving negative consequences from the teacher, or positive, if you make a phone call home, they might receive negative consequences at home as well. Although some problem behaviors may be socially undesirable, from a student's perspective, they serve a function or purpose. So that's another way of looking at it. So as a teacher, we can replace that problem behavior with another one that is more constructive and does not disrupt the classroom. One response we use at Panorama to problem behaviors is a behavioral intervention plan. You've probably seen these before. However, intervention plans are unlikely to achieve long-term success if they do not directly address the purpose or function of the behavior. In fact, a problem behavior will often return unless an intervention plan addresses the underlying function of the problem behavior and appropriately identifies an alternative behavior or replacement skill. So let's go on. This is an example of a behavioral intervention plan. Ours look a little different, but this is just a common one you can see. And so you see that there's all the things that we can do on there, including combinations, but we do not see the function of the behavior. We can identify that behavior. We even have the replacement behavior, but we don't have the function. Like, why is Mike showing this inappropriate behavior? So if he's refusing to work, why is that the issue? We don't identify that. So that is kind of what we're talking about in this video. So different functions and possible replacement behaviors. So we're going to have two common ones here again. Function is to escape an activity, demand, or social interaction. So they don't want to do an activity in your class. They don't want to do what you told them to, or they don't even want to socially interact. So they could be leaving the classroom. They could ask to use the restroom even though they don't have to. They could just disrupt the class so they even get kicked out or sent to the hallway, whatever that may be. So possible replacement behaviors, you can request a break. You can set work goals, raise your hand or request help by raising a hand, follow a schedule, participate in routines, select from a choice, demonstrate self-management skills, say no, say all done. Those are for more your lower levels, and identify and express feelings and anticipate transitions. Then the next one is to gain attention or control, which we do see a lot in middle school. So again, we could follow schedule, routine. We also want them to demonstrate coping skills. So that's that social emotional intelligence that we want. Request help when needed. Demonstrate waiting behavior. So you might be helping another student and they get frustrated. So we want them to show that appropriate behavior when they're waiting. Request attention again by raising their hand. It is good to give choices with parameters, so you can do that. Ask for a turn, and then finally request resources in the classroom. So we're just going to end it off right here. Just some helpful suggestions with your class. Establish priorities. So when you have several challenging behaviors existing in your classroom, it is important to establish your priorities. You may want to first target behaviors that are particularly dangerous or skills that would help to improve situations across several behavioral scenarios. So again, kind of identify what's important and tackle that first. Set realistic goals. Remember to set goals with your students that are realistic and meaningful. And start with small steps that can build over time. Simplicity, it's always good to keep your supports very simple. They also need to be practical and accessible so that everyone on the team can be successful in making it happen. So you're not going to be the only one working on this. You're going to have the school psychologist possibly, a counselor, another teacher, parents, guardians, whoever that may be. So the simpler the supports can be, the better, just so everybody can be on the same page. Continuation. So you'll probably see the behavior improve actually, but it is important to keep the teaching and the supports in place to continue to help the student develop good habits and more adaptive skills. So keep going on it, even when you start to see some of those behaviors disappear or at least alleviate a little bit, they could come right back. So be consistent. Organize and provide structure. So the more organized you are in your classroom, the better. The cleaner your classroom is, the better. And that just sets that structure up. And also that goes into providing clear and consistent visual schedules, calendars, routines, etc. So that person knows what's coming next, so they can anticipate what's going to happen. Inform your students about transitions and changes. So recognize that changes can be extremely unsettling for some of our students, especially when they are unexpected. So again, refer to a schedule, use countdown timers, which a lot of you do, give warnings about upcoming changes, etc. Provide a safe place and teach when to use it. Some of our special needs students or affected needs students have a calming room or a corner or objects or activity that help to keep them calm, like a beanbag. And this provides opportunities so they can regroup and just be helpful in teaching self-control so it doesn't escalate. Celebrate and build strengths and successes. So strive always to give positive feedback to all your students, much more frequently than any correction or negative feedback. So it's the 5-to-1 rule, try to give 5 positive behaviors for every 1 correction. It's probably even higher than that, but again, you want to have a lot more celebrations than you do corrections. Alternate tasks. So do something that's fun, can be motivating, that your student is good at. Then kind of try something hard. The student will be less inclined to give up or even get agitated if they're already in a positive framework. So you're building up their confidence, and then you challenge them and you kind of help them stretch without, overreaching. I already did that one. Give choices, but within parameters. So I kind of addressed on this earlier, but everyone needs to be in control of something. So if the student feels like they're in control, the better sometimes, even if it is simple as which activity comes first. So a teacher can still maintain some control in the choices that are offered, but a student also feels they have control. Provide access to breaks. So this doesn't necessarily include bathroom breaks, so I'm not really talking about this. But teach your individual student to request a break when he or she needs to regroup. You can even use a card that represents break. So if that's part of their plan, maybe that you can add that in there. But be sure to provide the break when the student asks, so they learn that you trust them. And then finally, use positive, proactive language. I already did a video on that. But just use language that describes what you want the individual to do. So, for example, I love the way you raise your hand. Okay, and I always try to avoid saying no or don't. Those are things that it's kind of hard to do because we're trained to do that, but at the same time, praise that positive behavior that you want to see. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, you can take something away from that and use in your classroom. I know there are a lot of behaviors that you like seeing, and there are a lot of behaviors you don't like seeing. So if you identify a problem behavior, this is something you can go back to and maybe try out. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.